Good evening. Very good. Now, I'm going to put my coaching cap on and give you about 3.5 hours of power, around the 3-hour mark. Is that okay with you? Now, a sporting coach actually looks for response potential. Agreed? So I'm looking for response potential. There's 2 reasons for that. One is you won't fall asleep. You know, it's an evening kind of thing. And the second thing is you actually retain the information far more effectively. So on behalf of CP Partners and 10X, I really want to welcome you here and congratulate you on getting into the edge, okay? Because 10X is really all about a wonderful thing we call about the X factor. You know, you've seen a sporting person, they've got the X factor. You've seen a star who's got the X factor. You've also seen businesses that have the X factor. So tonight, we're going to start to peel off some layers as to what is it that creates the X factor within your business. What are the key things that will actually make a huge difference in terms of the results that you're able to produce out there in the marketplace? Sounds interesting?
I'd like to ask you, who here would like to explore some strategies to perhaps grow their business? So put your hands up nice and high. Oh, wow. This is the overachieving group. Okay, good. What about profit? Who would like to explore some of the strategies and opportunities that there might be to improve your profit? Yeah? Whew. Boy, I'm going to have to work hard tonight, Rob. Okay. Now, what about cash flow? Show me the money, right? How many of you have probably, gone through the year and small business management services have come to you and said you've made an excellent profit this year? And then the first question that you have is, where's the cash? Yeah, can you relate to that? Well, guess what? Small Business Management Services now has the tools and strategies to help you focus on the cash so that at the end of the year, you now look at your profit and your bank balance and go, great, I now have some money. So we're going to look at some of those strategies again tonight as well. What about asset value? How many of you went into business to create an asset that perhaps one day you could sell, but definitely grow into something valuable? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Here's the bad news. If your business is solely reliant on you, the business owner, you do not have a valuable business asset because you can't sell it. You can't sell yourself, can you? Although you can, if it depends who you ask. But the reality is, if your business is solely, totally reliant on you as an individual, you can't separate yourself from the asset itself, so therefore, it's not really valuable. Does everyone happy with that? So what we're all about is making sure that we start building systems and processes and things in place to make sure that this asset, this business that you have, can one day perhaps be sold off or at the very least be separated from you in the event of something happening down the track. So obviously the 5th component is protect and sell. So when we talk about this, we also talk about succession. So is everybody okay if we touch on that as well tonight? Yeah?
It's fantastic. All good and well that you're here tonight, and I really am thrilled that you're here, and I do say thanks for being here. But if you come to this thing tonight and you go home and you go back to your business and nothing happens, then it was kind of just maybe if we're lucky, a nice night out. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. So how do you actually get stuff done? And my colleague, Michael, who was one of the 4 of us that co-founded 10X, he's most known for saying this, which is the power of an idea is in its implementation. You guys have all had brilliant ideas, haven't you? Yeah. You've had great ideas. And then somehow along the way in the busyness of life, you may not have implemented all of them, yeah? And then you see someone else do it and you're like, hey, I thought of that 3 years ago. How come they're getting to do that? Yes? Yes. Or you get the general point. So the power of an idea is an implementation. Everything we talk about tonight is a very powerful series of ideas. And the key will be implementing it. So another thing that we discuss at 10X is what we call the success formula. So, interesting if you knew the formula for success. Wouldn't it be good? Like if you just went, I know the exact formula for success. Brilliant. I am now going to be a legend. Yes? Would be good, wouldn't it? Absolutely. Very good. So, we have a it's pretty basic, very important. It's all-powerful, incredible success formula. And like all good things in life, it's incredibly simple. It goes like this. Decisions, and I definitely want you to write this one down. We do this one with the teens at Step Up. At Step Up, we run 2-day events, and we bring up to 1,000 teenagers, some of whom are underprivileged or at risk, together with high-profile entrepreneurs, Olympians, etc. And actually, 10X donates 10% of our profits to Step Up Foundation. And we do this success formula with teens, and they can totally get it.
At the right time. And as we go through the X Factor, we're going to actually focus on 4 important components here tonight. The first we're going to focus on is, literally, focus. What is your focus as a business leader? What is your focus in terms of growing and enhancing your business? And if you're here as a team member, similarly, what is your focus? How do you actually get the most value out of the time and energy and effort you're putting into your business? Second ingredient is growth. We all know that a natural state of a business is to grow. But you know, sometimes a business is actually a little bit clunky and it's not growing the same way that it needs to, the way it could do, the way it could actually make it happen. The third area we're going to look at tonight is numbers, and really get an understanding of how, by tweaking a few little dials in this area of numbers, the level of performance of your business can dramatically improve. Not only in terms of cash and profit performance, but also in terms of asset creation, asset value. And finally, we're going to look at a very important part of what 10X is about, and that's giving you lasercution, the ability to implement in a very, very focused way the results that will actually, or the decisions and the actions that will produce the best results for you out there in the marketplace.
First part of the X Factor, focus. So, I've got some good news and some bad news. What do you want?
The bad news.
The bad news? Okay, good. The good news and the bad news is simple. Your business is a reflection of you. Your business is a reflection of you. Good, bad, and ugly. Yes? So let me give you some examples. When I started consulting when I was 21. I started working with other business owners when I was 21. And not long into it, I kind of figured out that there's something weird about how people are and then how their businesses are. Like how people operate and then how their businesses are. So I could look at someone and go, dude, they're kind of a mess. You know when you meet those people who are kind of a mess? Yeah. They're all over the shop, their car's a mess, they're kind of messy looking, they're trying to keep it together but they're just not. You know those people? Some of you are nudging each other. It's you, mate, it's you. No, they're kind of a mess, and then you go, and then you look at them and they're like that, and they operate like that, and they miss appointments, and they don't die, they're all over the shop, and then you go into their business. And it's exactly a reflection of that. You totally can grasp this and go for it. So it's decisions by actions. Don't write in that box. You're going to need to write in that later. Very good. Decisions times actions equals results. I know, it's basic, right? Except it's reality. The decisions you make give you the actions you take, which gives you the results.
I want to make a note of it. We're going to look at it in terms of time, activities and results. Do you realise in your wardrobe at home, your clothes, that 20% of the clothes get 80% of the use? You still want to keep those other clothes just in case, right? Just never know. They could come back into fashion, they could get to the right size, all those things could happen. What we're going to look at is the recognition that out of everything you potentially could do in a day, there is a core 20% of what you do that generates and drives a massive 80% of the result. So remember, this particular part of the X factor is focus. Who's ever fallen into the trap where you said, I'll just get rid of these few little things first before I get to, How long do the little things take? All day? So the big thing, the thing that's really important, gets what I call rollitis. And it rolls from one day to the next to the next. Every day it rolls, the flag in your mind gets larger. And the stress starts to build with that.
And in page 2 of your notebook, you will see that there is a diagram which says which mode are you in, and there is a line in there. Okay, so we've got this diagram which is performance over time. Now it's fair to say that we'd all like to grow like this, wouldn't we? Yeah, nice and linear, always upwards and so forth. Now, is that how our businesses grow? Really? No, not really. Why don't we take a little snapshot in time on this line, and I'd like to just quickly share with you what it probably looks more like. And here we go. It tends to be more like this, doesn't it? Periods of explosive growth, and then all of a sudden we get to a point in time where something happens. We might plateau, or something's not quite right. Can you relate to seeing a business where it's going really, really well, and then all of a sudden something happens? And then some businesses start to go this way, don't they? They start to go south. That's because this business has lost touch with the marketplace. This business, for whatever reason, is now behind the ball game. Okay? It's not keeping up with the changes in the marketplace. It's not keeping up with client demand. It's not keeping up with competitors. It's not keeping up with technology or whatever it might be. But you've probably noticed that there are some businesses out there that have an initial period of explosive growth and then all of a sudden just do a nosedive. And before you know it, they're gone. They're out of here. Right? Then there's the other business that goes like this. Pretty much flatlining, I like to call this. You're not growing. You're not really declining. But you're not really moving, are you? You're just surviving. You're just in touch with what your competitors are doing. You're just in touch with what your clients are wanting from you, and you're barely making ends meet. Can some of you relate to this? Yeah, you feel like you're on the treadmill. And then, of course, there's the X Factor business, which all of you are, and you're doing this, aren't you? You're ahead of the game. Just by being here tonight, you are ahead of the game.
To look at these strategies, we'll see where are the opportunities for you to actually grow to the next level. Now, within 10X Coaching Club, we actually look at 4 X factors that will make a big difference to your business growth. The first one is marketing. So what are we doing from a marketing point of view that's really heading in the right direction? Secondly, there's no point marketing unless we have a brilliant selling process. So how can we actually sell people into the business? Convert that lead or inquiry we've got into actually a sale. Fantastic. Next point then is we need to have a look at how we are delivering. And there's some concepts and key strategies here that when we deliver in an effective way, it makes a huge difference. And then finally, ongoing servicing. So we create this wonderful thing called a client for life. Now in your workbooks, there's a map or a model and a framework here that helps us actually look at this. So the first step is marketing. From there, we move to a selling process. From there, into a delivering process. And then finally, that servicing process. So it's exactly what we just saw before. Now let's actually have a look at each of these in detail. Marketing, the first thing we need to do is get clear on our branding. What are our strategies from a branding point of view? Now, some of you might be thinking, well, look, we're not a Nike, we're not a Coca-Cola. Do we need to have a brand? Do we need to do branding? Well, let me just share this with you. Branding is literally everything that you do. Every experience and everything that we touch is actually part of your brand. And there's this simple concept that we talk about within 10X coaching clubs called touch points. And the touch point is every time a client, or the marketplace for that matter, a prospective client, actually touches your business. That's over the phone, that's face-to-face, that's in a meeting, that's on your website, or maybe in an ad or some marketing material you send to me. That is a touch point. So the key question is, and this is one of the things we do within Coaching Club, is look at all of your marketing material and get a sense of, is it supporting your brand position in the marketplace? See, it doesn't matter.
Now, let's look at an ad. What do most people put at the top of their ad? They do. They put their company name up there, don't they? They put their company name in big, bright, shiny letters. Who cares about the company name? Nobody. You and your mum. That's it. They're the only people that care about the company name is you and your mum. Now, what you have to do is you have to have an actual headline. So you have to have something that is an actual headline. And it needs to be the ad. A headline is the ad for the ad, and it must include the word you. Why? Because what are people interested in? Themselves. I'm not trying to be resigned and cynical, but when people are looking at ads, they're interested in what it can do for them. What's in it for me, what it can do for me. What's in it for me, what it can do for me. So they're looking for something so you want to have the word you, your, you'll, any derivative of the word you, and people will be more attracted to it. The other thing you want to do with a headline is you want to have maybe a little subhead that might qualify the kind of people you're looking for. So you might say, business owners, discover how you can, blah, 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 yeah? You might say parents. You might say, I don't know, plant lovers, whatever your type of business is. You know, your type of customers, you want to flag them in a little sub-headline, then have a headline that says something exciting for them and got the word you in it. Some keywords, I'll get you to write these down. Some keywords for headlines, discover, how to learn. The other one that's really good is like 5 steps or 7 steps. Discover how to grow a luscious garden in 30 days. I don't know, I'm not a gardener, you can tell, right? But, you know, something like that. Discover how to, learn, 5 steps. Obviously, the other keywords that always get a result are free, sex, and lose weight. Those last 3 are the highest ranking, they do very well, but obviously most of us don't have businesses where those things are involved. So What you've got to do is use some of these, right? Discover how to learn 5 steps. Now, the reason you want to do that is that people are actually out there for information. Now, if you look at a newspaper, okay, so let's say this is a newspaper. You're busy people. You're all busy people. When you read the newspaper, how do you actually read the newspaper? What are you actually doing? There's a technical term for it. You're scanning it. That is the technical term. You are scanning the newspaper. And by the way, on average, it's 4 seconds. You've got 4 seconds to capture someone's attention in a double page spread. 4 seconds. So, and the way that people's eyes work, the way that people read the paper is they go like this, and they go like that. Which, by the way, is why this spot here, and in particular this spot here in the top right-hand corner, is what in newspapers? It's more expensive, because they know this is what people do. They go chit-chit-chit-chit-chit-chit-chit-chit. So everybody sees that, everybody sees that. So then because people are scanning, that's why that little sub-headline can be really important, because they are aware of who they are. I'm a parent, I'm a business owner, they relate to that. So you put that in a little subhead, and then you put a big headline that speaks to them, about them, and what they want, and you've got more chance of doing it. Now, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what's in it for me. Okay, so you've got to have a headline, and by the way, a couple of little notes. Your headline should be 4 times, whether in a letter or in an ad.